Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. As always, we have the cortados flowing. Shout out to Plato Coffee, Unreal Cortado here in the Cape Windings. So today I want to chat about something pretty cool. It's something that I read on X from a guy called Tom Tunguz. I think I'm butchering that name, but he's a VC at Theory Ventures and he's been doing this prediction post for the last couple of years. So he just dropped his 2026 predictions and his track record is actually it's actually insane. He scored 7 out of 10. No idea how they scored that, but on last year's predictions, he hit them pretty much nail on the head. So when this guy says something, I think it's kind of worth paying attention to. And I wanted to walk through some of them because a few of them are directly relevant to what we find inherently interesting on this channel. And some of them are just, I don't know, they made me think really differently about what's coming next year in the AI economy. He says that businesses will pay more for AI agents for the first time. That sounds a bit crazy, but what he makes an interesting comparison to is Waymo. So Waymo rides actually cost 31% more than Uber, and people still choose them because they're safer, they're more reliable, no kind of weird, uncomfortable, awkward conversations at 6 a.m. or 11 p.m. You're kind of just paying for it's a premium option, but it's an autonomous option. And his argument is sort of the same thing that's going to happen in business with AI agents. When you factor in recruiting, onboarding, training, management systems, HR, maybe, an AI agent just does the work and it can actually kind of carry that fully loaded cost of a human employee. I don't know if 100% agree with the framing around it. There's a lot of work that still kind of requires that manual human judgment and almost like that permission layer when working with AI agents. But like human creativity, relationships, it's those are more nuanced factors. But I can kind of see what he's saying. The cost of a human employee isn't just their salary; it's everything around it, right? Like an AI agent, it just shows up. There's nothing extra. There's no extra layers to it. You're not gonna have to train it for 6 months and then watch it leave for a potential competitor. The math starts making sense for certain types of work. And as we move on to the second one that caught my eye, he says that 2026 becomes a record year for liquidity. Now we're talking SpaceX, OpenAI, Anthropic, which I'm super excited about, and startups like Stripe are all potentially going to go public. And if that happens, SpaceX and OpenAI, and I would actually argue Anthropic, would be among the 10 largest IPOs ever. And when we kind of look back the last 4 years, we've almost had this drought where basically, no one's been going public. The IPO market has been dead since 2021 and the 2021 kind of market hype cycle. All that sort of pent up demand, all those employees holding stock options, the VCs that I'm sure have been pushing for those kind of exit liquidity events, it all comes flooding out at once potentially in 2026. And there could be a secondary effect. And I think fear of disruption is driving defensive acquisitions, exceeding $25 billion, meaning big companies that see AI sort of eating their breakfast will just start buying up startups instead of trying to build in order to catch up to the progression of these state of the art models because they can't move fast enough internally. And then there's this prediction around AI agents executing tasks for longer than a 24-hour or 12-hour workday. This one is wild if you think through the implications. According to Meta, it's a research org that tracks AI capabilities. AI task duration doubles every 7 months. So right now, frontier models can reliably complete tasks that would take a human about an hour or 40 minutes, but you can give Claude, particularly Opus 4.5, is incredible tool calling. You can give it a complex task and it'll execute for maybe 45 minutes to an hour without needing that constant kind of like guidance and intervention. Extrapolate that during a doubling every 7 months, and by late 2026, you're looking at an 8+ hour autonomous workflow and work stream, which is essentially a full work day. Maybe not if you work at home, but an AI agent that can take in a brief in the morning, deliver completed work by the end of the day without human intervention every step of the way. That changes how you staff projects. That changes what a team even looks like. Like if you can spin up 5 agents or sub agents, right, working on different aspects of a project autonomously, what does that mean for how fast a small company can move versus a big one? That's leverage. That is the leverage that AI and the agent economy generates, But the one that I want to spend more time on, and this obviously has a direct relevant to what we're sort of building at the moment with Allocate, is his prediction is that 30% of all international payments will be issued by stablecoins come December 2026, 30%. So that's not a fringe prediction. That's a VC with nearly 80% accuracy on his prediction, saying stablecoins become a major part of how global trade accelerates at the speed of the internet. And his reasoning is sound, I think. The efficiency gains in cross-border settlement are just, they're too large to ignore. And you can see with MasterCard and Visa, they're too large to ignore for these more traditional payment rails. If you're a business sending money from the US to the Philippines, or you're looking at a 3 to 5 day waiting time, there's obviously it's via Swift, 5% likely minimum fees. With stablecoins and the stablecoin rails, you're looking at minutes and a fraction of that percentage cost. Once you have the regular clarity in major markets that we're starting to see in the US, with the Genius Act, I believe, stablecoins move from being a kind of crypto trading mechanism to being a part of trade finance. Not because companies are all in on crypto, but because the economies are just better in terms of the velocity of moving capital. It's an obvious choice for anyone doing volume internationally. There's another one about, the web flipping to agent design. Most developer documentation and websites become agent first rather than people first, because a lot of the purchasing decisions are now going to happen through AI first and AI research first. Like I'm evaluating a B2B tool. I'm probably asking Claude Opus to summarize the options before I even visit the website. That's a new distribution and marketing channel. So the front door needs to be designed for AI and for agents. The side door is kind of how we evaluate the research done by these AI agents. And that's a different kind of inversion cycle. We've spent the last 30 years building the web for humans, if we can say that. And now we're probably going to spend the next 5 to 10 years rebuilding it for agent commerce. Machine readable everything, APIs that agents can navigate and access, documentation structured for LLMs to parse and to optimize the quality of their output. And, moving on to the next prediction, there's another one about databases that I think is underrated. Agent data across patterns are going to stress and break existing databases. AI agents issue at least 10 times more queries than humans ever did. And that's probably conservative. I think it could be maybe like 100 times. And if we think about that, a human using an app maybe makes a few dozen queries per session. An AI agent running autonomously might make thousands per minute as it explores, analyzes, cross-references. A tool that I absolutely love in this space is Convex. It's an amazing backend database that's structured for LLMs. And the concurrency and the throughput requirements force a complete redesign of this kind of backend architecture. And it really does make sense if you have thousands of agents and sub-agents running practically 8 hours per day, each one hitting databases constantly. The infrastructure needs to catch up. We just haven't built for that kind of load, I guess. But yeah, I think the one thing he's missing is where I get a bit more opinionated, I guess. All of these predictions assume agents doing work, I guess, for humans, replacing humans, agents replacing human tasks, executing human instructions. But there's a step beyond that, which I think becomes its own category in 2026, and that is agent to agent commerce. It's so much more than just agents doing tasks, but agents transacting with each other in a higher velocity level. Like if an AI agent sort of needs data from another service and that service also has an X402 protocol, why would they need the human approval on the transaction if it's been pre-approved? One agent could pay another agent directly. Stablecoin wallets that have secure access from AI sub-agents, potentially programmable escrow that executes automatically when conditions are met. Potentially machine readable contracts that agents can negotiate and sign and approve. This is actually what we're building more towards with Allocate and helping founders move money at the speed of the internet and help grow their capital. The infrastructure layer for these agents to hold value, move money, and transact autonomously. You can see it with Circle Wallets for Agents, an amazing product that's been shipped. The kind of payment APIs, I think, are starting to get to that AI agent level of speed and capacity. And the whole stack makes agent to agent commerce possible. Because right now, I think the bottleneck isn't the AI and the LLM throughput. Like we have agents that can reason and plan tasks. The bottle is that kind of commerce layer for agents hasn't been unlocked. And I think every payment requires human intervention at this point. And I think the moment you give agents economic agency, the ability to hold wallets and kind of authorize these transactions, you unlock this entire new layer, which I'm super, super excited about. And that's autonomous commerce. That's moving money at a higher velocity. It's a digital dollar wallet for your AI agents. I think it's, the infrastructure is at ground zero right now. But yeah, I think it's going to be the year of AI agent commerce 2026. So looking at all of this, I think 2026 feels like the year where AI goes from, I guess, assistant, particularly within terminal coding interfaces, to actually having an economic commerce layer to it. Like agents that can work 8+ hours on tasks, stable coins doing 30% of international payments, the IPO capital unlock of liquidity. And maybe if I'm right, the agents starting to transact with each other directly at a higher velocity. So I don't know. I hope you found these predictions fascinating. I certainly have. The intersection of AI agents and payments and how infrastructure has to change to support all of this. I think that's something that I'm super excited about. But I would love to know what you think about these predictions. Are they too aggressive, too conservative, or are we just still super early in the kind of next phase of agent commerce? Awesome. Drop a comment. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching another video, and we'll see you on the next one.